Welcome to another edition of Sales and Marketing Power Hour with your hosts, Carol Morgan from Denim Marketing and Kimberly Mackey from New Home Solutions Consulting. Today's topic is Love Your Buyers, Build Your Referrals. Today's special guests are Haley Nabig, Director of Sales with Novi Homes, John D'Angelo, Director of Construction with Burke's Homes, and Jessica Sickler, Director of Marketing with Burke Homes as well.
All right, are we ready to kick things off here?
Let's kick it off.
Sure. All right, well, let's do it then. So we're leaning into the whole Valentine's Day thing and love your buyers and build referrals. So obviously a hot topic. We've heard back from a lot of people after we started advertising this and putting it out there. So a lot of people are very interested in this topic, and it's something that our industry, given how crazy and busy it is, sometimes we forget those little touch points along the way. So we're super happy to have our Rockstar panel with us, and they're going to get an opportunity to introduce themselves here in just a minute. But our quote as we kick things off is, "It's easier to love a brand when the brand loves you back." So thinking outside of home building, think about those brands that just always stay top of mind, that make you feel special, and create that brand loyalty. So I think sometimes we tend to just look into home building. We can look beyond for this one too.
Yep.
So Carol?
All right. Well, you're not showing the slides, so I'll keep talking while you share your
Oh.
screen. You're not,
shoot,
but
where am I?
it's okay. You work on that, and I'll introduce myself. Carol Morgan with Denim Marketing, and we like to do marketing with intent. So if you are struggling with how on earth do you keep up with the amount of content that we all need today to make the chat bots and the Google bots and all the bots happy so that they return us as results, then give us a call at Denim Marketing. All right, so now that our slides are up, I'm going to talk a little bit about our Facebook group. So make sure if you have not signed up for our group on Facebook, you can come hang out with us there, Sales and Marketing Power Hour. And we just like to keep the conversation going in between our webinars. So hope you'll join us there.
And we encourage you to post and ask questions, and it doesn't always have to be us leading the conversation. So
Right.
Loving all the activity on there this week as people are getting fired up and ready for the show. That's always fun to hear from everybody. So, share away. We love it. All right, Carol, keep it going.
Keep it going. Well, I already introduced myself. So Carol Morgan, Denim Marketing, give us a call for public relations, social media, any kind of digital marketing. We'd love to help you create all that content that we all need to keep the bots happy.
So, and as
back to you.
I'm like quick draw on this today. So Mackey, and apparently I cannot run a slideshow, so that part we have established, but that's not why people hire me, so it's okay. So New Home Solutions is the company you call when you want sales to be the engine that drives your train, rather than what runs it off the tracks, I always say. And that I help people. I do immersion consulting. I make sure your processes, your systems support consistent, persistent, and profitable sales. So you need help, especially in this weird market that we're going through where it's kind of a sideways market. We don't know what's happening. That's where I come in. So, and I did just finish a large project. So I do actually have an opening right now. If anybody needs help with it right after the show, I can hit it boots on the ground. And here's how you contact me. So let me know if I can help you. Haley, we're going to kick it off with you as our first guest here. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself and Novi Home.
Yeah. Hi, y'all. Haley Nabig. I'm the director of sales at Novi Home. Prior to my time at Novi, I was an online sales counselor for a builder in Louisiana, which means I am the most persistent, or as some might say, the most annoying person at every company I have ever worked for. I think that's my superpower, pleasant persistence, I think they say. Novi Home, we are out to solve a couple problems for home builders. Number one, speeding up slower sales cycles in that weird market that you were talking about, Kimberly. Number two, solving for inconsistent communication from walk-in to warranty. So that's something that we see pretty consistently across a lot of builders. And how we're doing that is through buyer engagement. So we build buyer engagement software for home builders. Yeah, meant to drive those referrals that you're talking about. We have, I've invited one of our best favorite clients on this call, Burke's Homes. So yeah, if y'all want to introduce yourself at Burke's.
Here, let's move right into Jessica then. Thank you, Haley.
Yep. So I am Jessica Sickler. I am the director of marketing at Burke's Homes. We're located in Pennsylvania. We're a regional builder located in central and eastern Pennsylvania. So we only build in one state, which is kind of nice.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. All right.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your best practices, and we have high expectations. So Haley's bragged about you guys and your practices.
Thanks,
and then
Haley.
we have a unicorn also on. So John, you're our unicorn. We got the construction team here to represent. So love that you took time out. We know how busy construction is these days. So thank you for joining us too. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I hope I learned some things today. I like to learn new stuff, especially around the sales and marketing. My name's John D'Angelo, Director of Construction at Burke's Homes. Been here a long time, and I'm excited about today because of that communication level with customers. Even though I've been in construction my entire life, I grew up with a mother that was a realtor. So she had me sweeping off porches and cutting grass and fixing bushes and helping her with open houses. And so, and she did new home, sales in a community back in the early 80s, which was kind of an unusual position. Honestly, at that time for a woman, it was mostly like a men's world. And so she worked really hard, and she had her teenage son there kind of trying to help along. So I've always had a good understanding of that perspective and try to cascade it on the construction side. So
some great
new stuff today.
You had some great on-the-job training.
I'd love to say a couple things about Burke's Homes since they seem a little humble over there this morning. Just a couple reasons.
I'm not very, out there.
A couple things that I'd like to brag on them about. So the first thing is, and I don't know, I apologize, Jessica, I can't remember if it's your mission statement or one of y'all's core values, but it was one of the things that made me reach out to you guys in the first place. And that is Burke's Homes' goal is to be a major league player in
a minor league markets. That is our vision statement.
Vision statement. Yes. So I thought that was so cool. And it's very apparent in how they use technology, not just Novi, but everything that they touch at every level of their business. They are, even not being a huge national with a giant budget, they have found ways to be super innovative. So that's one thing. Also, Jessica, when I first got in touch with Burke's Homes, I was told by my point of contact initially that they were onboarding Salesforce, that they were switching their CRM from, it was Atlasso, I believe, to Salesforce. And I was like, oh, I'll never talk to them again, only because I've seen builders really struggle through Salesforce specifically. Jessica got them switched over and did a full Salesforce implementation in, I believe, 90 days.
Wow.
Was that right? I've never seen anything like it. I've seen builders like abandon ship on Salesforce specifically, like a year into the process and $1 million into it.
We're going on 2 years now that we've been in there. So
that's crazy. So where's your phone booth where you put on your Superman cape in? I mean, that's very impressive.
I've been hanging in my closet.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
yes.
I think that's a great segue there, Haley,
right?
Because, the beautiful thing about where we are today is that technology can be that great leveling force, right? So you don't have to be a big national builder to look like you're a big national builder, because if you utilize these fabulous tools that we have,
right?
And I always say to take whenever I go on with a client, they're like, well, what do you think about this tech or that? I'm like, look, whatever tech is in your tech stack, we're going to maximize that, and we're going to use it till we break it.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
there's no reason for, some of this chaos that goes on with, oh, I saw this bright, shiny object at the builder show and this, and
Mhm.
then no full implementation. That's the key. Implement this stuff and use it until you break it. And it can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, but you got to learn it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
definitely got to
Well,
learn it.
sounds
well,
like you guys are all in on that, right, Jessica?
We are, but the key really was to keep everything simple. I didn't come out with this hot, like you went from Lasso, which, was a great system, but we wanted a lot more customizational options. So that's why we looked at Salesforce, but we kind of replicated Lasso in a lot of ways. And then we just started building on it as we go down the line. And it's the same thing we've done with Novi Homes and our buyer experiences that way, as you started with small things and then we just keep adding on piece by piece to really, instead of just throwing it all at them in one thing.
So it's a
yeah.
whip. It's a work in process.
Yes, it is. And that's how
Yeah.
you
I don't
fine
think
tune
you're
your
ever done.
processes.
No, you're not. Well, let's back up and throw a question out there. What point in the buyer journey does the relationship usually fade? And how can you extend that?
So I
Anyone
think
want to?
we usually see it fade after closing. The handoffs are done between, sales and construction, and it's just warranties now there to kind of step in a couple times throughout, the next couple years. But it's
Right.
never anything consistent that they hear from us. So that
Yeah,
is
well,
probably one of the easiest ways to say it kind of fades, right, John?
yeah, I would say that probably is the toughest spot, right in that we do like a 2 month, 2 to 3 month warranty visit. One of the changes that we did make over the years previously, we basically just sent a form to the customer and said, here's your form, fill out your list of issues that you have. Get that, we'll make an appointment. Well, there's two things. One is like, don't call us, we'll call you. There is a little bit of a
Right.
skill that, but also people, they had no guidance. They don't know what to put down. So they put all these things down, and some of them might be realistic. Some might be like way off the charts. No, we're not going to, move that telephone pole off the neighbor's property. Look at it or whatever. But we found that when you have people that send a list of 50 items, and realistically, truly, fairly to the contract and everything, we only need to address 10 of them. And even if you're trying to help them out, you make it 15 to be nice. But then there's all these other ones that they don't apply. It might be maintenance and things like that they weren't doing. And to say no, 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 no is not a good foot to get off on. So what we decided to do was we actually have like a thorough inspection checklist that our warranty techs use. We reach out to make the appointment and say, we're going to come to your home. We're going to do a thorough inspection and make sure, like, we go around the outside. If something's not sealed or wasn't caulked properly, or if maybe it was and it dried out a little in that time, we take care of it. We check everything. So we kind of take them around and we do all these. It's almost like an orientation, but the warranty tech is doing it. And then when they're finished and they've addressed everything or talked about something, might say, hey, keep an eye on this. This is for you to maintain in the future. You want to keep, your downspouts cleaned out, things like that. Then we ask them, so is there anything that you have a concern about? And most of the time we've covered all that, but what they feel good about is we're actually going around and looking for a minor issue or imperfection that needs rectified, rather than just kind of saying, well, if you don't say anything, we won't fix it. And that's
Yeah.
had a
Okay,
much
I,
more
I I have my
positive
mind blown
impact.
here on something. Are you
Yeah.
telling me that you're proactive
Yes.
instead of reactive?
Yes.
Mhm.
You are
Well,
you cannot be in home building.
Yeah.
We have to
Well, I mean,
maintain in reactive mode at all times.
yeah, we try to do that. I mean, obviously things can come up in that short time. We hope that they don't. But we found that it is a much more positive impact. You're calling them and saying, I want to come out and take a
yeah.
look at everything for you and make sure your house is
Mhm.
okay. Because there are people, it's interesting. We've had people, they may be first time homeowners. They may be somebody that has zero understanding of maintaining anything.
Right.
And so they don't even know what to look at. I mean, we've gone out and, you can have tremendous settlement depending on soil types and if we've had a lot of rain. And they're walking in their front door every day and they have like a 2-foot dip because of
Oh,
some extreme
yeah.
settlement. And they don't they're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that was bad.
That's
And then there's other people that there's
yeah.
a blade of grass standing the wrong way and they're not happy about it.
Right.
we have to talk about that. But yeah, we do. It's definitely been a lot better, you know, kind of going after it rather than just waiting to hear from someone.
I love that because it takes care of that whole education component as well. So you're doing education and warranty and customer happiness and building relationships. And I guess I'm curious, do you have any kind of survey or anything that they get, you know, before or after warranty, and have your survey results gotten better since you started doing it this way?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
use.
we do have. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you talk about that.
No, you're good. So yeah, we have one obviously post move-in, so they have their move-in survey, and then they do get one at their yearly mark. And I believe, John, our surveys have gone up at least 2% over the past year, I believe what we
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah, we did. We went up 2% overall, and that is between move in and warranty. Realistically, we all know most of the time people move in, they're super happy, they're excited, everything's the greatest, right? The true test is through that year, you know, and what do we do? And we, you know, those scores aren't as good, honestly, as we'd like them to be, number one, and as that move in. I would love for them to be better. I'd like to exceed or take, and we have customers that you can see where their move-in score was and where their year end was. One of the things that I am proud about our company is that I read every single survey, dig in. Multiple people do. I'm just speaking about me in this moment. Go through all the paperwork. Where did we fall short? What steps do we need to take? The owners are really big on customer satisfaction and customer service. You know, we talked about our vision about the major league player or minor league player. You know,
major league player, minor league market.
I'm sorry, all backwards because I'm on my camera here. But our mission is creating lasting relationship by earning the trust of those we serve. And there's not a lot of companies that people have worked for where that's how the owners of this company operate in business themselves and how they expect everyone else to. So, you know, we're always trying to do better. And it's interesting because we call people that give us a bad survey to talk to them and, you know, find out how they think we could have done better. It often leads to things that we need to look into for them. And often people are shocked. They're like, oh, I don't even think anybody read this survey. So even when you have an upset person, the fact that you call them makes a big impact.
Yeah, Melissa's already commenting that, you know, that loves hearing that you're actually paying attention to the surveys. And I mean, that's why we do them. Like these give us some really valuable information, but not if you don't do something about it and you don't track trends. To me, this is a KPI that we need to track so that we know where those trends are. And, you know, if we start to see that we've got some component in the home that is not living up, then, you know, we got to get back to the purchasing team. Like it's a whole company. It's a holistic approach to pay attention to those things.
John,
you know,
can you say,
this year. Sorry, go ahead, Haley.
No, go.
I was just going to say, this year specifically, we focused on as a leadership team in our goal setting. One of the things for me originally was our pre-construction checklist. So we have a thorough pre-construction meeting with each of our customers, our buyers, and we also have one. We have one for quick move-in. So anybody, if we have a spec home under construction, they purchase it before flooring goes in. We also have a touch point meeting with them to give them that same experience, you know, thoroughly go through what to expect the rest of the job, where we are now. We are, you know, Novi Home, we are still with the guys training them that even though it's a spec home and there's not a buyer attached, put photos in there so that when that person does take over and join Novi Home, then they have that history as well. But we're changing our, you know, we want to update our pre-construction checklist and focus more on getting feedback from multiple departments. When that was originally made, I basically wrote that checklist with my manager, but both of us have been in the business a long time, you know, worked through both sides of it. So we felt it was thorough. What we didn't really think about and what we run into is, are we all speaking the same language from sales to construction to warranty? We all kind of are trying to deliver the same message, but we don't always use the same terminology.
Words, right.
So how did you address that? How did you address that to make sure that everybody is speaking the same language? Jessica, was there a concerted effort with marketing to figure out what do we want that language to be and make sure that everyone was trained and consistent? What did you guys do with that?
We're just starting that right now. That's what
That's kind of what
goal
our
for the
projects
beginning
this
of
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are working with the sales team on what, as we call it, Burke's terminology is, what the words are that we use as the marketing side, but how that does portray down to sales. And then, having looping construction in with that as, to have that fully from marketing through warranty that everybody's going to be speaking the same language.
And Haley, and I know that you help recommend and that Novi has best practices. What are you seeing more broadly across the board with setting those expectations and making that language consistent?
Yeah, I think, well, one of my personal least favorite things when I am dealing with any brand or company is when the jargon is not defined early on.
Right.
It immediately quite frankly, it makes me feel stupid. And I don't have good sentiment about when I feel that way. And so just having everything predefined at the beginning, I think we see
Mhm.
Our strongest users, Burks included, have really clearly defined standard operating procedures at every point in the process, how, when, where communication is going to take place. And that is communicated both internally to the builder teams and then externally to clients. So I can't say there's any one particular perfect method, but anything that is communicated at the very beginning has the strongest effect on buyers. I did want to ask, John, can you say one more time when you scheduled that warranty inspection that you were talking about? Because I think I missed that part.
We actually have two. The first one is we say 2 to 3 months. We typically start calling around 2 months. And the reason we say 2 to 3 months is just with the volume, we can't in this first quarter, we had 100 homes or 150 homes settled that we can hit them all in 30 days with our staff. So we have 2 to 3 months because it could fluctuate into there. And then we have an 11-month final.
Okay.
And at both those points, our techs reach out to make that appointment, explain what's going to take place. It's basically the same checklist, and we just have for the 11-month, they do like drywall, touch up, and point up, and that kind of thing. But that's the first call out is at that 2 to 3 month.
Got it. And kind of going on that, Kimberly, like one of my favorite things about Burks is that they have construction speaking with buyers as well during the process, taking photos, being able to communicate directly with buyers. And that's different for every builder. Some builders prefer to have salespeople take ownership of that communication the whole process. But that's one of the reasons why I invited Burks on here and John specifically, because their team is so bought in to that customer experience that there wasn't. I get pushback sometimes from builders who are scared to have, not just scared to have construction communicate, but scared to ask construction to communicate almost. And so what I love is that it's so top down from Burks with what the priorities are that was like never a concern for Burks. I've seen that with a couple of our home builders, and that sort of like all in mentality from leadership on communication and what that process is going to look like has had fantastic results for builders like Burks that do that.
It has to come from the top. And the first company that I worked for, I was very fortunate. I called it boot camp for the industry with everything I had to do there. But, that we had those sales and construction weekly meetings with customers. We called every customer in our pipeline every week. We gave them this is before we had wonderful, because I'm old. So this was before we had Lasso or Salesforce or Novi or any of these tools. There was no such thing as apps, right? I mean, so, it was the Stone Age as we were sending things by carrier pigeon. But we did it, and we did it every single week to make sure that that customer felt that, and we were setting those expectations. Here's what happened. Here's what's going to happen. Never getting too far ahead, because customers get overwhelmed. We do this every day. So we're just like, oh, well, we're at stage 10 and we're doing blah, blah, blah. We're doing blah, blah, blah. And they're going, they hear blah, blah, blah. It's like Charlie Brown's teacher, blah, blah, blah. They don't understand all these words that we keep throwing at them. So if you keep it simple and you have, this, that you're going to do it weekly, you're going to do it bi-weekly, whatever you're going to do. And then you do it, and to have those tools where they can reference the photos, they get it in writing, they can look back at it if there was something they didn't understand. It's a thought. Here's a novel a thought out process.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm getting crazy here. I get it.
Well, I like that. And, talking about processes, let's go a little bit more towards the marketing side. So, what is your process? How are you using your CRM for touch points after the sale, or, I guess after they've, signed, but maybe before they've closed, and, what's that look like? And, any tips or best practices there?
Oh, there's always tips and best practices should be doing. And there's plenty that, yes, we still need to implement. But the sales team is really good at, communicating with the buyer pre-close and keeping them updated through, the app of Novi and the CRM, and sending out emails. We do use our CRM to kind of watch communications and kind of help us find potential buyers or profile buyer personas that we're looking for content, for testimonials, or to gather that content. So we do use that stuff in there and reach out to them on that through our CRM, and just trying to find those people. There is so much we should be doing. I know we're talking about like yearly touch points or quarterly touch points that to keep the buyers engaged, or even the homeowners now engaged of something we should be doing. Yes, they get our monthly newsletter, or they'll get information about if there's a community event coming up. But there's a lot more that we can be doing than we should be doing, reaching out to them, just because that is going to be a referral is our easiest sale. Honestly, it's probably the one that costs the least amount of money. We're not out there running ads and retargeting and having the sales team spend hours and hours and hours of just grassroots efforts. So it's someone that believes in us already.
Well, do you ask them for referrals, or do you just hope that
okay? And when we send out surveys, part of it is, reaching out, going, is there anybody that, you would refer us to? We do have a referral program for our homeowners that benefits both parties if they were to offer a referral that does buy a home with us. So we do promote that, widely, through past homeowners and, even on our other platforms.
You talked about, so your CRM is sending it. It's the integration of that tech stack and Novi integrating with your CRM. So, and I see we have some comments on that in the chat too. But we're tracking it all. So the CRM is that place that's tracking all that communication, and where we can measure the effectiveness and interaction of all of that. Is that correct?
Correct. So all of our chats within Novi actually filter into Salesforce, so we can read those chats. We can export those chats and throw them into, I hate to say chat, any type of AI type bot, and kind of get the sentiment of what's going on. Is this a pleasant experience? Is this someone that we should be watching for issues in warranty? Because or are they talking about, they have friends moving to the area? Or are they talking about this or that, stuff like that? So we can use that information to help us market better to, our buyers and those. And then, of course, reaching out, going like, they love the experience. They love the sales rep. They love the superintendent. They have such a wonderful, home building process. That is someone that's gold. That's someone we want to capture and have them tell us their story.
Yeah, you can get your testimonial videos, and there's just so many opportunities there. And sometimes I think we're afraid. Like, I just think we're so afraid. We've been conditioned that somebody's not going to understand something. They're not going to be happy about something. Ooh, what if they say this? Rather than focusing on that happiness factor. This is exciting. It's very exciting to build a new home. And I think we should lean into that excitement of that, and with those touch points along the way.
But that's also when we ask them for, just the video testimonial, but we'll also be, hey, can you, We send them the Google link. Like, we would love to put you to put your thoughts on our, Google business profile to
Right.
promote it there, using captures within our survey system of what they have in their notes of how happy they are. We take those and, create posts of socials or, for them that people like, these are what our buyers are saying. This is why people love Berks.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about a little bit of this, but you said that, you're working on these quarterly and different follow-ups. What specifically are you at liberty to say, like, what specifically do you feel like maybe where are the holes that need to be filled in and in priority? How does that look?
Well, I mean, just keeping the buyers or homeowners now engaged, even after the fact, keeping top of mind, that it was the biggest thing. Because, I mean, I come from the real estate background. Most people forget their realtor within 90 days of closing on
Right.
the home because they never ever hear from them again. When they go to sell again, they choose someone else because they never heard from their realtor ever again. So thinking as in that mindset and bringing it into the home building industry, we should be always top of mind when they are looking or recommending anyone to build or even looking at potentially new construction. So if, being that person, like sending just a quarterly homeowner updates of things they should be doing this season, decor trends, what are we seeing in the market in their area? One of the easiest things that I took over from the real estate side is I used to make them send their realtors send birthday cards. It's an easy one. Or, a home anniversary card when they moved in. It's been 1 year since you've been in your home. So thinking that stuff we can implement into the home builder side. It's been 1 year since you built your home and moved in. That's a huge milestone for them. I mean, home ownership in general is a huge milestone in your life.
Yeah. And I think the birthdays make people feel so special because they're like, oh my gosh, they remembered my birthday. They sent me something for my birthday. So,
I mean, we usually get their licenses, or we at least see it, trying to take a note of that and enter that information.
That's fantastic.
My dentist and my esthetician always send me birthday cards, and that's a much lower cost item. And they probably have a ton more patients than closings per year. Yeah. Many more cleanings per year than closings per year, I would have to imagine.
Yeah.
I think anywhere that you can provide value as well. And that's something that I try to do personally, and that I know has been really successful with builders is anywhere you can provide value. One of the things that we like to talk about, of course, are like maintenance reminders of just, oh, hey, like I would have totally forgot about that. I got one recently from my vet. Right? Hey, your dog is ready for new shots. And like, you know what? Thank you so much, because I never would have remembered that on my own. So any small places like that where you can not just stay in front of them, but provide actual, like real value, kind of like Jessica was saying, with updates on trends. And another product that I've seen that I think is really interesting is something like HomeBot, where it updates people who have purchased their home on what their home's worth now. Would they be eligible for other financial products like HELOCs or, stuff like that, where it's just, they may never use it, but it's interesting information and it's providing some kind of value to them.
That's interesting.
Love to see if their home is appreciating. So in an appreciating market, they're all about that. Ooh, look how smart I am. Look what happened here. So that's always, and I know a lot of lenders send that out, but that doesn't mean that, we can't send that information as well, like you said. So, and I really do the education component of this. So I think if you start early and often with that education, so there's a whole marketing application to that. And especially with AI and AI optimization right now, because the AI is looking for that information too. But if we start educating those buyers, before they've ever identified themselves to us, then during the process, here's what to expect. Here's what this means. Here's what this means to you. And then after, what does it mean now that you're in your new home? Everybody say, here's your warranty. Here's a link to the warranty documents, but does anybody really read the warranty documents?
Probably not.
No, they're terrible.
Not unless they have a problem.
Right. Well, even then they call and they ask, right?
Yeah.
They just assume it's a new home, and that they didn't have to caulk their windows once a year. Who's caulking their windows once a year, right? So these are opportunities where we
Yeah.
can educate
Well,
them.
yeah, and it's interesting. I know in Georgia, at least in Greater Atlanta Home Builders Association, they have a home buyer's handbook, a homeowner's handbook that is kind of a universal, here's what you should be doing to maintain your home, that all the builders have access to give to the folks that buy from them. And I think that's huge because, again, if you're buying your first home, you don't think about changing the HVAC filters or cleaning your gutters or when it's time to do things. I think that's a huge opportunity to educate them on.
Bite-sized chunks rather
Right.
than
So,
the
yeah.
handbook nobody's reading. But if we give it to
No.
them in bite-sized
Give it
chunks,
to them quarterly. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
one of
there's
the
lots
biggest
of opportunities.
one of the
Mhm.
things we struggle with, and probably anybody that works for a new home builder does, is yards, grass. People,
Yes.
it's one of the biggest,
Yeah.
surveys they'll talk about. That's one of the main contentions overall, the amount of work involved. And we've done a lot to try and help that. And it's still tough. In fact, on our pre-construction checklist, we have an entire page. Our pre-construction checklist, I wrote it. It's not just a checklist. It's almost like everything is a description that when the customer gets that, it's like their little book telling them exactly what's going on that they can refer back to. It's not just a bullet point. Each line's an explanation, not just to help the superintendent, but that if that buyer refers back to it, they know exactly what they talked about. Well, we have an entire page of 50 lines about how to maintain and grow grass. And we actually have
Right.
to sign off on it. And then we have a door hanger that we put on that has all that same information. And then we follow it back up with that.
That's
Oh, that's
great.
smart.
Talk about it in warranty. And realistically, it's still a struggle. It's a tough thing to do if you've never had to
You
start.
should
a
invite
yard.
them to live in Florida where we don't actually have grass. We have what you call crabgrass that we pay a premium for.
Right.
So, and
Exactly.
you're not going to run through it barefoot, because if you do, the fire ants are going to eat you alive. So, yeah.
Well,
That's
it's tough
so
in
funny.
Pennsylvania. You either have a wonderful lawn because you got planted late August, early September, and the weeds don't grow anymore, so it looks like a golf course when
Uh-huh.
it first comes in. Or you get planted if you're a winter settlement and you get planted in June when the weeds are at full max. Then they just think we planted weeds, so
Oh, that's awful.
weeds
Yeah.
just grow faster, and there's weed seed in the soil, those things. But we explain all of that, and we really do try to be transparent. It's so nice when you can go back and go, well, remember here when we talked to you about this, that you're not making an excuse. We've talked about it multiple times. So we're
Right.
trying to, again, this year work through getting everybody to continue to speak that same language all the way through, which
Yeah.
makes people happier, because there's nothing worse than buying anything. You go buy a new car and you talk to this salesperson and they tell you you're going to get all these things, and you go talk to the guy in the service department and he's like, well, no, we don't do it like that. Lose trust.
Right.
So
So do you have, from the marketing perspective, from the beginning, you can come up with, based on these best practices, I'm assuming, and do we then include sales in that, and marketing and sales, and then we loop in construction? Or is this a all hands on deck powwow? How do you decide these things and communicate them to create that consistency?
well, initially we'll talk about, sorry, Jeff.
You're good. I was going to say, usually we
No,
are
with
very
this,
collaborating.
we'll meet, with, honestly, would be Jess would be part of it from the marketing and sales side. And then our warranty director, Dale, we're a close knit team here in this
Mhm.
company. And so that's where we start off, where's construction struggling to talk to marketing? How does marketing think it'll best sound? And then warranty, what are their struggles, so that we can make certain that we're going to touch all the points that warranty needs. Marketing's going to tell us the right way to say it, and we're going to make certain from construction that when the customer gets to us, they've heard it already, and we're not teaching them something new. So we
I
kind of
like
do
that
it
it's-
now, but we
yeah.
want to fine tune it.
Yeah,
It's
we
nice.
fine tune it. We adjust sometimes what we say on the marketing aspect, because how we're saying it might not be the best way to actually say it, because then you hear construction's feedback or warranty's feedback and it's like, oh, that's how it's coming across. Let's adjust the wording a little bit so we're
Right.
not portraying the wrong message.
It's nice that you guys have so much interplay between the departments so that you do get that cohesive message going out to the customers. That's really important. Um, I'd like to kind of roll back to something Jessica mentioned, I don't know, probably 15 minutes ago. You mentioned events and doing, homeowner events. Talk about some of those and how they work and how they've, benefited you.
We have a few communities that actually do like a yearly event. Not all of our communities do that, but there's a couple that do. They'll do almost like a re-grand opening type event and bring in the community. Um, One of them one year made a kind of like a photo stand and had families set up, and like our photographer was there to kind of take some pictures quickly of just for family portraits. They also, I think that was the same year, they brought in an ice cream truck or something like that with it. But yeah, they not all, as I said, not all of our communities do it. Really depends on how big the community is, how long we're there, and just
Yeah.
finding, trying to engage with the homeowners that are there. We also have that our actual models don't open right away. So we will have homeowners already living in our communities by the time our model home is finished and ready to go. So, which is nice because then we invite them into our grand opening.
Right. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So reaching out to them first, having them invite friends to come in to see
Hmm.
their new home, but also see our model home and our community, trying to entice getting more people to get more eyes on there. But we usually do have,
Yeah.
food, raffles, and a couple salespeople there, or the sales manager, even marketing sometimes shows up depending on what the expectation is for the size of the event. Kind of go, but we blast it out everywhere. We have the sales reps take it to local realtor offices, local businesses to try to connect with them if they want to come. And then, of course, just invites to the local homeowners right there.
Do you
Yeah.
use video at those events and to take that opportunity even to get the testimonials or capture the excitement of living there? And how are you guys incorporating that into your overall touch points or marketing efforts?
We do use a lot of video. If we are a marketing, I mean, for how spread out we are a marketing team of 5. So we do have a videographer that will go out if he can to get some of that content. We do try to line them up at the events because that's the best time is to see people engage. So that's the best time to capture even photos of them engaging with our sales reps if we want to kind of repurpose that content, but also the video of, this is what's going on in the community. This is what Berks is. We are that family friendly. We are that family builder, and that's what we want to portray.
Yeah, so I mean, I just think there's so many different applications. And Haley, have you seen anybody incorporate videos like that as far as in using Novi or tying it all in with the CRM? Like what are you seeing across the board?
Yeah, I mean, across the board, videos just perform very well, better, I would like to say. And that's the whole time. Like, so events, when some of our builders use Novi to advertise, so to speak, testimonials like they were talking about, they'll push them out through Novi. Video of what am I looking
I
at?
think we have
Muddy.
one of our agents does walks her
Mhm.
specs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Video. So she'll walk the spec and upload it to that spec, even there's no buyers attached, but kind of send it out to potential prospects. So that's a big one for using the Novi one.
Yeah. So they'll upload it into individual homes or listings. I've seen Muddy Boots tours was what I was looking
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
when
love
they'll walk
those.
through. Yeah, sort of like Jessica was saying. So like invite people to participate in that, but then also have the content there available for those who maybe weren't available. So yeah, those perform higher. We see the logins of buyers who are under contract when their sales or construction manager is uploading video content. They log in like over and over and over and over again, which is really cute. But the builders that are using video content more have higher login rates of both their prospects and buyers.
Yeah, people, and they're sharing it. They're
People.
sharing it with
Yeah.
they're at work.
Mhm.
They're like, "Oh, cool! Look at this!" Like people, to me, that is a referral source right there. Just people getting
Mhm.
excited about what's happening on their home and that understanding of that, and that we've taken the time to share that.
Yeah.
I want to flip the switch a little bit and talk about our realtors, our outside real
Mm-hmm.
estate agents during the process. Because if to me, your realtors are your repeat buyers, right? I
Right.
teach mine that, 25 realtors a year. If you want to do 50 sales, you need 25 realtor VIPs who are going to bring you 2 sales a year. 25 times 2 is 50. Boom, you're right.
Right.
You don't even have to worry about walk-in traffic if you have that. So, do you share some of this as part of your realtor outreach and realtor education? And how are you including them in all this?
I know our central region, our state college office had a realtor event at the office and selection gallery to introduce Novi and how it is actually beneficial to them to be on there, to be updated as to what's going on in their buyer's journey, but also how it could help them potentially have, if they have buyers, find, homes that fit their needs. They can actually then see the updates of pictures of where the home is in the progress. But yeah, we use that aspect of trying to get our realtor engagement. They've been really successful at using it up there. And now we're trying to implement it in kind of some of the other regions that we operate in and how realtors can benefit from using. I know it's another app, another piece of technology that they're not always happy to do, but they can actually log in, see a home that they're looking at on the MLS, but then they can actually see the stage that the home is actually in. So while we provide beautiful representative photos on the MLS on our website, they can then see that actual home and where it stands in the progress and potentially show potential clients, this is what the home looks like. Here's the selection they kind of already picked out for it, depending on where it is. If the cabinet color's in or, the flooring's in, they can actually see that actual home there.
Now, wait a minute, back me up a little bit. So, you're
That's
actually
cool.
giving this to general realtors before they're attached to a particular home or a sale to use
Yes.
as a
As a
tool
buyer,
so
in
they
a
can
sense.
get you
Yep.
buyers.
Uh-huh.
Love
I love
that.
that. I love that too.
Yeah,
So,
they
Haley, are
register
you
as a
seeing anybody
buyer, and
else
then they
doing
can
that?
see. I don't know, Haley, anybody else doing that?
Yes, sorry. I'm trying to let you guys talk. Yes. It's one of the coolest ways that I see Novi used. And when markets shift and things are, I don't want to say slower, it's a dirty word, harder, more challenging. It's usually, hey, let's lean into our realtor network, and just keeping the brand in front of people is like half the battle, right? And so adding the VIP realtor network into the builder apps, right? Like into the Berks Homes apps, and then tagging realtors on pieces of inventory that usually each community, like you said, Kimberly, there's like 20 agents that do a lot of business in community A. So I'm going to tag them on all the listings that I have coming up as a salesperson. Like if I'm a salesperson in that community, I'm going to tag my top 20 on all the listings that I have coming so that they stay updated on the progress of that inventory, so that they can see behind the scenes footage, the video content that we were talking about. Selections is a big one that Jessica mentioned. People love to see what's going into the home, not just kind of what the hypothetical home looks like, but hey, this is what the home actually looks like right now.
Mhm.
And this is what it's going to look like with the finishes that we selected.
I am
So yeah,
I just learned
It's
this and I'm like all over it now. I'm
it
like, this is now an arrow in my quiver. Like this is happening.
yeah.
I love this.
Well, it's like an
We have a
influencer
builder
marketing
asking a
program.
question. Carol, did you see that? So
I think she was giving examples as he was asking, but what's a good example of a referral program that you do? Do you have
We only really have one that we roll out. It is pretty much they get a gift card, buyer gets a gift card, homeowner gets a gift card for referring anybody, and that closes on a Berks Homes. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we do to kind of keep that relationship going. They each
Yeah.
have something.
and it's
Well,
based on closings and not just purchase agreements.
Correct. It is based on closings. They have that settlement is when everything is then distributed out.
yeah. I
Yeah.
guess I'm curious with the Novi system and kind of rolling back to that because it sounds like it's kind of the beginning of an influencer marketing system. If you're uploading your video and uploading all of your stuff there, have you encouraged agents to share some of that information on their social media that's in
yeah,
there?
Yes.
absolutely. So we don't personally at Novi, that's kind of up to the builder, right? How the
Right.
builder wants to communicate with their agent network. We absolutely provide best practices for that.
Yeah.
Or what we've seen work for other builders in our network. So yeah, of course, encouraged to share on socials, both both agent and buyers who are under contract having the ability to share anything
Mhm.
that's uploaded into their profile on their own personal social medias. Um, and another thing that I was thinking about when we were talking about agents is longer term leads as well, like relo buyers. That's a really interesting market that I've seen builders use our technology to kind of stay in front of as well, as that real term, or I'm sorry,
Mhm.
relo targets.
I
Yeah,
love
that's a
that.
good point because, I mean, to me, that's being able to see that progress from afar, like, is
Hmm.
so important. But then to be able to share that, that's taking it to that whole next level of building those referrals. So, there's just so many opportunities along the way that if we stop thinking about them just as what's happening in the moment and we back up a little bit and broaden our scope of how can this benefit all of our buyers, how
Right.
can this benefit our realtors, how can this benefit our positioning in the marketplace. Sometimes I think we just get caught up in the day to day and forget to broaden our vision back out on these things with different ways that you can use any of these tools. So I love that, Haley. And you're coaching them, you're getting them all to in line. They're all jumping in 1,000% to everything, right?
I wish. I wish. I mean, Jessica said it at the very beginning of this. Would you say WIP, work in progress? Like it's
Hmm.
Keep
the
it
best.
simple and keep adding on.
Right.
Yes, the best technology is technology that people use. And
Right.
so we can make all these suggestions. Like I said, every interaction, I try to provide value to both my prospects and our builder partners. So sending out some of these sort of case study type situations on the Novi side as, hey, let me send you some educational content. Builder ABC did this. They had XYZ result. If you want to know how to do that, give us a call. So yeah, we see really neat examples of this all the time, and we try to share that with our network as much as possible.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about being on this side of things is we do get to see those best practices from because people are like, oh, that'll never work in my market. And I'm like, well, a similar builder in a similar market, this is what happened. And you can see those results. And they're like, oh, really?
Hmm.
Like,
Maybe we should try
so
that.
maybe we should try it and see. I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Sometimes.
Right.
So no, I love that best practice sharing. Jessica, as far as referrals go, and I know you guys are still working on all of this and you're still implementing it, but have you seen that those referrals and the referral sales and referral traffic go up as a result of these efforts?
That is something we should be able to really track this year. We are starting to, data has been a really tough thing for us to gather over the past couple years, and that's something we refined last year and now is really into play this year. So having all those metrics now and seeing that data easily will definitely help us probably, see that information. I do feel that, implementing and doing more of this stuff and having some of these new features from the CRM and from Novi, giving those buyers that extra way to showcase our products to other people within, when they're working and they see a video come in or they are with family and friends we will see that actually grow that referral base.
Yeah, I definitely think you will.
The thing about KPIs is we have to be able to track them.
Right.
And when we're getting walk-in traffic, getting our sales team to understand how important these KPIs are to our
Mhm.
marketing efforts. Because if we don't
Hmm.
know what's working, how can we do more of what's working and less of what's not working, right? We have to be able to
Right.
measure that. And if you're not tracking it properly in your CRM, I mean, at least, some with Novi and some of these early, larger parts of the funnel, sometimes the buyers are giving us, they're coming in and they're telling us, but that walk-in traffic, that the traffic that we're having those face-to-face interactions with first before they're identifying themselves, sometimes that's where we're losing that really valuable data. And so I just think it's so important to train the sales team not to just ask, because it's never just a sign, oh, they came in off a
Right.
sign. It's all signs. And
Was drive
sure,
by,
that's the last
Kimberly.
thing they saw, but we've
Was
got to
drive
find out
by.
what's really going on that made them pay attention to that sign.
Hmm.
And if we don't train our sales team to ask this question, then we're kind of operating in the dark. And that one KPI can be harder and harder to quantify to know what the impact is.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we have a lot of open-ended questions inside our CRM as well, so they can kind of elaborate and tell us the buyer's story, kind of learn those pain points, kind of helping them actually train themselves on how to overcome some of the objections they are seeing. So they're entering pain points, they're entering their wants, their desires, what have they seen, what haven't they seen, and then they can help themselves, and the sales managers can then coach them on how to overcome some of these objections.
I like
That's-
that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
fantastic.
Kimberly, do we want to do a lightning round and ask everybody to?
We're at the top, and I get
I know
so
we could
excited
talk
about this
forever.
stuff.
I know, but we've got it's like 3 minutes left. So I'm thinking before we go, maybe everybody can share one love your buyers touch point that could be implemented realistically in the next 30 days. Jessica,
Start with John.
You'll start with John. Okay, John first.
John, okay, marketing idea, John, come on.
Hey, actually, well, it's not so much marketing because, not that I don't care about marketing, but on our end, what are we trying to do to improve? And recently, this actually was not my idea. It was one of our regional production managers came up with the idea. Right now, people are really struggling with utility companies. And I do think because a lot of them are being, like the customer service end is AI, getting their electric, gas, things like that switched over to their name. Like no one's calling back. They're saying we can't find that address, even though there's a house on each side of them that was already built and has it. So one of our guys came up with, instead of just getting to the homeowner orientation and go, did you get your stuff switched over? I mean, our closing coordinators do send them a letter ahead of time. Here's your settlement date. Make sure you're going to get your electric and gas utilities switched over. He came up with the idea, can we put in our builder schedule to send out a reminder in Novi with a picture of the electric meter and the electric meter number and the gas meter and the gas meter number.
Oh, nice.
So when they call, they can say, this is my meter number. They're not, because in newer communities, sometimes those addresses don't show up and it's a big hassle.
That's so cool.
People that live there like weeks and they still don't have it switched over. And we certainly can't just say, okay, we're turning it off.
Right.
So he came up with that idea. I thought it was great. Put it right in Novi. They have the pictures of those and then use that as, and there is kind of a dead space from the pre-drywall walk that we do until you do that orientation. A lot happens there, and it'd be a great little connection point as well. Hey, just reaching out to remind you. I mean, they do weekly updates, but this is like an actual connection point. I think it would be helpful and make them like thankful for the assistance on that.
And I love that you zoomed out to that and said, okay, this is happening and we're seeing it, but let's build it into our process. And I think that's the key.
What we do to help them to accomplish it easier. And I was excited that he came up with that idea. It was a great idea.
It's a great idea.
I like it. Jessica, what about you? What's your parting shot here that you'd say that somebody could do?
Something that someone can do, honestly, now that we track, at least in our CRM with all the settlement dates, is following up, sending either the congratulations on being a new homeowner within 30 days of, settling on their home, if the sales reps aren't already doing that, but definitely the 1 year happy anniversary, so happy for you that you've chosen, me and Berks to be your partner here.
It's a good one.
Haley, what about you?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite ones, kind of like John was saying, is maintenance, utility reminders, things like that provide value, but also education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, education points are, I think in terms of the education as a marketing and as a sales tool, because if you set that proper expectation, when they come in and they're having that freak out, you can go, oh, remember when we had this conversation? And, oh, yeah, you did. You told us this was going to happen. And I actually have a t-shirt that says, keep calm and build on.
That's a good one.
Carol?
Yeah. I think one of my favorite ones is one that actually the realtor who sold the property that this house is sitting on 23, 24 years ago still follows up quarterly with me. And it's always something interesting. So it might be the NFL schedule for the year or the college football schedule for the year, or what are the, farmers markets closest to you. So it's always something that's like a little bit timeless, but they're usually a magnet you can throw on your refrigerator. And I just think it's fantastic because it's top of mind and it's something that anyone can do in any business. So What about you, Kimberly? What you
Yeah,
got?
oh, I love that. So, since we are at the top of the hour, I would say think about your processes. You got to plan this, kind of map out those touch points, and then,
Yep.
like John said, where are the holes? Like, so, oh wait, we're going like a whole month here with a bunch of stuff happening. We don't actually have any planned touch points. What would be those valuable touch points during that time frame? I truly think this is a whiteboard exercise all day long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then use your tools. So, make sure you're maximizing Novi. We should be Haley's biggest problem should be that we're breaking Novi every day because
I
we're coming up with all
love-
these fantastic ideas.
I love that you said that, because every beautiful innovation that we have had at Novi that has changed our game is because a builder broke something and we had
That's awesome.
we had to fix something around it. And so we've been able to innovate from there. So yeah, my favorite builders are the ones that break stuff.
That's fantastic. See,
It's perfect.
that should be your new goal. Let's break Novi. So
I
There you
can bring
go.
Don't tell my boss.
Sometimes
Don't
you
tell
gotta
the
make a
dev
mess
team.
to fix everything, right? It's like cleaning out the
Yeah.
garage. You got to take it all out and make a mess and then put it back. So break
I
Novi
wanna-
to fix something.
I want to thank you guys and
This is
from
great.
Burke's Homes that you gave us two of your top people here to share best practices and help the industry, and not only with the people who took time to join us today, but those that are going to listen to it in the replay. And Haley, thank you for all your efforts to make this a success. We look for Carol and I will be at the show next week, so look us up.
Look for us. Yeah.
Yeah, we would love to meet with you. And don't forget those. Don't forget those Novi sneaks.
for
Somewhere I
us,
gotta get
yeah.
on that list. All right, bye everybody.
got you.
Thank
Bye,
you so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Have a great
Happy
day.
Valentine's
Thank you.
Day. Love your buyers.
Bye, guys.
Love your buyers.
Thanks for tuning in. We can keep the conversation going. Just search Sales and Marketing Power Hour on Facebook. See you next time.